So this video is going to be kind of boring. A bunch of people have been asking about buying this. It's not really for sale, but people have asked, so yeah. And people have been asking about buying the 300. So in order to turn you guys off and make you leave me alone, I'm going to tell you everything that's wrong with both of them. They both work great, but because I'm me and I know my machines, I know everything that's not perfect. So this thing, yeah, what's not perfect on it? I just fixed the vent lines. Those are good to go. Engine's good. Transmission's good. Just changed the output shaft seal. That's good. The front end has a few potential issues. So these are the first gen of these brackets. So these ball joints, people have had them come out. In order to keep mine from having that issue, I have tack welded the ball joint in. It's an aftermarket steel ball joint and it's tack welded to the bracket. So that's a little ghetto. It's been working great, but that's something to be aware of. Yes, that's not great. What else isn't great on this thing? Oh, I replaced all the heim joints to beef them up. However, I ran out, so this is still a 1/2 inch heim right here. That's a 5/8. I've never had a front heim break, so probably not a big deal, probably never fail. Something to be aware of. Same thing with the front. It's been working great, but something to be aware of. When everyone buys my stuff, you know, I tell them everything that's ratchet on it. It doesn't have an internal gear reduction right now. It just has reduction in the portals, which is plenty for like these 32s or like the 33-inch Aztecs. It did okay on 35s, but you might want to add an internal reduction if you want to go bigger. Obviously the floorboards are, that's a little thing to show you. So the front floorboard support is cut off in order to clear big tires, and you can see that it's cut off right there as well. So the floorboards aren't as sturdy as they were from the factory, but they're very usable, and obviously they're trimmed for massive tire clearance. But you need that because when the portal swings, you can see even a 32 gets, you know, within 2 inches or so. So you can run a 35, but it's best on like a 32. It does have stage 5 Elkas, obviously portals, raked rear arched arms, best mod you can do to Rubicon, stage 5 Elkas. Everything else with the bike's pretty stock. It's obviously snorkeled very well. Oh, the screen has some moisture in it. It still works, but it does make it hard, like, to see when you're in 4-wheel drive and stuff. You can see it, but it's kind of, you gotta know where to look exactly. So that's kind of annoying. The 4-wheel drive light does flash occasionally, like all these bikes do. So I've gotten the habit of always pressing the button, then turning the key on. You just heard it engage, and then I disengage it. So that actuator works good, but you got to do the 4-wheel drive flashing thing. It's fine if you go through some water, it'll be annoying. Just changed both the diff fluids. The rear had a little bit of water in it, but I think that's because one of my vent lines had come loose, so I fixed that and flushed it. Front diff looked good. And oh, there's no front brakes on it right now because with the portals, in order to have front brakes, you need the P700 caliper brackets. So I have a front brake caliper delete. The lines are up there. There's still pressure on it because I sealed them really good. So you could add the front brakes if you need them. I have not needed them though because the back brakes have 2 gear reductions now between the portal and the rear diff, so that works fine. But if you buy it, I'll give you the calipers and the stock knuckles and the skid plates and all that stuff. Have it all in the garage, obviously. So that being said, now that you know everything that could potentially go wrong on that bike in the near future, on for sale, like it is, sits here, 17-inch ITP Tornadoes, custom cut, scooped, and grooved, MX 618s, exactly how it is here with the original knuckles, the portals replaced, and the skid plates, and maybe a couple of little spare things I've laying around. $11,000. Don't bother me if you don't want to pay that. There's like 50 people bothering me about it. Show up with cash, it's yours. Obviously the bike's paid off. I have the paperwork from the Honda dealership. Anyways, the 300, there's actually nothing wrong with it. There's nothing sketchy on this that I know of. Some things I still need to do. I've been running gear oil in here and I've been changing it every few rides. Obviously there's no seal right there, or there's a seal, but the axle tube's exposed to the axle paddle. The best thing to do would be to grease this and add a grease zerk here and add a grease zerk there. I never greased it, I've just been changing the oil, but that's something I would improve if that's probably the next thing I'll do on it. What else? This has been working good since I rebuilt it. I have a spare plunger rebuild kit anyways. Front diff's been working well. Bearings are good. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with this thing. So these are ITP double bead locks, 32-inch Aztecs, 54% gear reduction, motor stock except for 300EX carburetor, stealth snorkel. Oh, these are starting to crack with age, obviously. So that's something to be aware of. Obviously, it's very dirty right now. No rear brakes, obviously. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. Full brake delete. Front brakes actually do kind of still work sometimes. They are not great. I would recommend doing a front disc brake conversion on it. No need to do the puppy locker because it's got the the torque locker in it. So this thing's true four-wheel drive. That's about it. Obviously ODI grips on everything I own, even the three-wheeler. But yeah, so people have been asking about this, and obviously no one wants to pay $4,000 for a 300, but if you add up the money it would cost to build one of these, plus the time and everything like that, it's like, I probably got $6,000 in this thing. So I would sell it for $4,000 and not a penny less. If you don't want to pay that, it's simple. Don't buy it. This does have a really beefy 350D axle on it with very cherry splines. It's a good setup. Nice brace and a 2.5-inch stretch with a 300EX shock. It rides really good for a built 300, and it's got a solid shaft, so no welds on the drive shaft, and it's a really beefy swing arm. So it's a very solid, reliable setup. The way it's geared now, it's good for like a 32, 31 Outlaw Skinny. It would be perfect on here as well. But on the tires and wheels it is, the way it sits there, $4,000. I could be negotiated if I put different tires and wheel setups on there. A lot of tires and wheels, obviously. But yeah, so that should keep everyone from bothering me about these bikes because, number one, I want way too much money for them, and number two, there's all these problems with them, so stop trying to buy my shit. If you're actually interested in buying it, the best way to get a hold of me is the Mud Puppy Question and Answer Facebook page. Post on there and I will message you. If you message me, I'll probably never check it because I literally have 700 message requests I haven't got to yet. So yeah.